You know, I'd have to say one of the biggest blessings in my life is my 5 kids. And my second kiddo, Jeffrey, has always been a kid that has been really good with his hands, very creative. He loved to build things from the time he was little. I remember him tearing apart bicycles and wagons, and as he started to get older and older, he found out that he wanted to use his creativity in different ways. He started editing hunting videos by the time he was 16 years old. He came to me and said, "Hey Dad, I'm really interested in the taxidermy."
Well, I'd always been interested in hunting, and my dad started taking all these animals and stuff, started bringing back mounts and putting them all throughout the house, and I became really interested in that. And people walked in the house, it was kind of like, you know, tell the stories of the hunt and everybody could relate to it. So I just got really interested in that. I was always working with my hands when I was younger, building stuff with wood and everything. My dad had met Ryan when he went to Hills Air Force Base, and he had told my dad that he had a class, and my dad said, "Oh, my son would love to do that."
I was talking to one of my good friends, and somebody also who's a very talented taxidermist who's done a lot of work for me, and also has his own school out of Utah, about Jeffrey coming and going through one of his extensive class where Jeffrey would stay there for several weeks at a time, and he would be able to mount not only deer, but some also other animals like a fox and a badger. They were going to take on one of the big bulls that I had shot last year.
When I first arrived, seeing Ryan's shop, it was amazing. It was a big shop, lots of room, and he had a bunch of stands because this class is usually between 5 to 6 people, and I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. Once we got there, it felt really comfortable, a great group, everything was just fine.
Jim's boy, Jeff, came and took our 2-week class. It was so much fun to be able to have him come and see him put his skills to work and mount these animals up. They turned out really good.
One of the neat things about Ryan Cook, he's a guy that loves to teach. And Ryan is one of those guys that's a real family guy, a real family organization. And when you walk into his shop, it's absolutely immaculate. From the time that you walk in and you look at the work on a wall and look at his success story of being a taxidermist and a true artist, it really just exemplifies really good work. And that's where I wanted Jeffrey to go.
Well, starting off, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but didn't take very long to get hands deep. And we started off, I picked out a form. I was going to do a mule deer that my dad had shot in South Dakota with a bow. Learning from Ryan was super easy. I mean, he's a great teacher. He explains stuff in great detail. And we didn't just throw this mount together. He taught me about the anatomy of the animal, the jawline, how to carve out the eyes and the nose and put the eyes set, and what looks good and what doesn't. This class is pretty much designed for anybody. It covers the basics and it goes advanced. This class isn't just designed to be a full-time taxidermist. This could be for the guy that wants to go out and hunt and mount his own animals to save money, and Ryan's the guy to learn that from.
Most people don't have 2-3 months a year to learn taxidermy. You can learn everything it takes in 2 weeks. I created this class so you should come, you mount your animals up, and then you take what you've learned back home and just perfect it.
Starting off, Ryan's deal was to do a shoulder mount, a small life size, and a rug. I chose to do a mule deer, a badger, and a fox as a rug. I don't look at taxidermy like it's a dead animal on the wall. I kind of look at it like it's art, like a picture frame to somebody else. Not only does it tell a story, but it's like a kind of accent to set the room.
I've always told my boys that as men, you need to know as many things as possible. Gather up any information. Anytime an old guy is willing to sit down and talk to you, just listen. There's always great wisdom from hanging out with people like this. And so what an experience. I mean, Jeffrey being 20 years old and being able to go all the way out to Utah and be in a real taxidermy school, and he's going to get to mount, you know, full body elk.
I even got a little sweet bonus in too, because my dad had taken a big bull that I was going to get the chance to do a life size too. Well, with Ryan being in Salt Lake, Utah, he was right next to McKenzie, and we were able to drive down there and hand pick out forms. Including with the classes, a bunch of tools to start you off. So pretty much from the start, I had all the basic stuff that I would need later on.
When I looked over and saw that elk for the first time, all I could think about was the memory of the hunt and how beautiful he was, how majestic he looked. It just reminds me of that day when that bull walked out there at 56 yards, turned totally broadside, and I got to stick a gold tip through him. It's one of those things that I've wanted my entire life. For me, the greatest animal that I could possibly hunt with a bow in my hand has got to be an elk, and it symbolizes my entire trophy room. I'm very proud of what Jeffrey was able to accomplish, and I'm also proud that he had decided to do that. I can only imagine that Jeffrey will probably be mounting animals for pretty much the rest of his life.
After the class was over, I was excited to get home because I knew that my dad would have a ton of animals for me to start working on.